this next sentence I'm going to drag from your website, and I think it kind of ties into what we're talking about here. This is a blurb from your website. Victor embraces both the grandeur of classic cinema and the dynamic pace of online video culture. Now, I want you to break
He's
down.
like,
That's good.
Very nice. Yeah. So, I mean, dynamic pace of online video culture is like kind of to me, I'll tell you what I think it means, and then I want to hear it from you. I mean, we're talking about classic cinema, and then we're talking about how it's evolved and changed over the years with smartphones and all these social media apps. Break that down for us in a way that, because is there overlap between those two? Because are you working in the middle of those?
Yeah. There's good in both, I think. I'm saddened by the fact that our generation is not that well educated about classical cinema.
Yeah.
It's not their fault. It's maybe their parents' fault, I don't know. But there is kind of a lack of education on the entertainment industry on that side, and they kind of forgot. Like, I see some kids or even like guys my age, they didn't even see Godfather or stuff like that, you know.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I got you, Victor. I got you.
Peyton's seen it all. He's there.
But anyway, it's like it's not their fault. It's just our generation that is this way, right?
Yeah.
But I don't want to kick them too hard, because I'm part of that generation, and there's also really good stuff coming from our generation. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, can we do a mix? Like, isn't there a bridge? Isn't there like a continuity? You know, there's extremes every time, right? Like, if you take a classical movie that is silent, black and white, pretty boring, and then the extreme, like a Marvel movie where it's no plot and just explosions over explosions. You know, it's like two extremes. But I think if you bridge the two, meaning like good story, good craft. When I say craft, is really a savoir-faire, a knowledge of the director, like Christopher Nolan, like Denis Villeneuve, like those guys who are like authors, but they are directing blockbusters. That's not by mere chance that they ended up on the top, you know, of the ladder. It's because they have a vision, and they master the skills of the classical filmmaking. So what I love, shooting with big cameras, on cranes, on traveling, because there's a language, a cinematographic language, or should I say a love language, that I think even young generation, when they see it, even if they were not educated by it, they will intuitively and unconsciously understand its meaning.
Sure.
For me, like, there's some camera moves, you feel it. It's just when a camera moves is good, when there's intention behind it. When I say camera moves, as in like classical filmmaking, a slow dolly, pushing, there's meaning. Everybody can feel it, whether you've been a film buff or not, whether you're born in after 2021. Oh, shit, like, you got my meaning. Anyway, and then there's a good part of our generation, which is so creative, so clever at making stuff that is dynamic. I've grown watching a lot of YouTube. I've grown watching like Sam Calder or Zach. You know, the magician, the guy Zach, the American guy.
Oh yeah. He does the crazy.
You know, yeah.
Zach King, I think.
Guys, they are my childhood. You know, like, and I'm like, wow. But the quality of the light is not good. You know, it's like the idea is creative, but the making is not cinema.
Right.
Yeah.
And for me, that was the bridge to try to create at some point.
Yeah.
To have something classic and iconic, but still how can I say? Still, with that gives you some sparkles in your eyes.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
And it's you're opening my eyes right now, because I think cinema has had the short end of the stick when all this new technology was introduced, like the phones and the internet and all things like that. Because I feel like back in the day, the way people discovered art is they walked down the street and went to the Broadway show. And then eventually, you got like radio, and people got records, and then they'd listen to music. But cinema has it tough, because what you're describing about having the opportunity for a younger generation to discover the art and listen and take in that love language through the art, we have that with music. Because music is just, fundamentally the way it's consumed is somebody could be swiping on TikTok and hear Elvis Presley or the Beatles and be like, oh my, like, damn. And then be like, Mom, Dad, listen to this. Or like, oh, you just discovered Elvis, huh? Like, and I had that same effect too. I remember I was working in high school. I was sweeping tennis courts. I used to sweep the clay tennis courts, and it was at a resort. And then it was like where a bunch of old people would retire and like party and stuff. So I was sweeping the tennis courts, and down like on the other side of the resort, the old people were having a party, and they played Wise Men Say Only Fool. And I was like mesmerized. I was watching all these old people slow dance, and I was like, I need to know the name of this song. That was like my introduction to Elvis. And we just don't have that opportunity for discovery with classic filmmaking, because it's just the nature of how it's consumed.
I think that's music's doing it for the love of the game, to whereas film is doing it for the profits nowadays. I think
it's a bit
the biggest tough. There's a through line here of why we created Waves, is that we're claiming that the big studios and the just film nowadays are making films for the trailers, for the movie posters. Let me slap Tom Cruise's face on a movie poster and then make a trailer with him all over it. It's gonna sell tickets. It's not about, it's not like, I would go as far to say as if you made Good Will Hunting today, maybe no one would go to the theaters and see it, because you can't make a trailer that's gonna stick out next to the 17th Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we're making a bet, and that's why I think that sentence that you put on your website kind of encapsulates everything that we're talking about. The grandeur of classic cinema and the dynamic pace of video culture is the most interesting part of the evolution of film in the last decade. And I think you're sitting right perfectly in the middle of it and almost calling it out on your website. And I love that aspect of it.
Thanks, man. That's like, wow.
Yeah.
Damn, dude.
Damn.
Damn. Yeah. Oh!